Hello, I just want to welcome everybody to a wonderful conversation with a variety of staff from our special education summer program located out in Westhampton Beach Learning Center. Please excuse the room in the background. We grabbed a room that was big enough for everybody to be able to sit without masks on and socially distanced, but they're in the middle of summer cleaning, so it's certainly not set up to look like an inviting classroom like it typically is. But thank you again for taking the time, and thank you to the staff in the room who took time to meet with me and have a conversation. All right, so first of all, I have to thank you all for your willingness to spend some time really just giving me feedback about the in-person summer programming that you're all involved with. I have to thank you for your willingness to do that, to come in and be in person, and it has provided us amazing information about what works, about what needs to be adjusted, about what we need to think about for September. I know we did a couple of surveys that staff responded to, but this is really bringing the survey alive, right? So your opportunity to just honestly and openly share what you've learned, and some other things. But first, just so people know who it is who's in the room, I'm going to ask you to give your name and your title.
Yeah, I'm Carolyn Perez. I'm the nurse in the building, the RN in the building.
I'm Dave Mikowski. I'm one of the school psychologists here.
Hi, I'm Mary Katrina. I'm a speech therapist.
Hi, my name's Jenny Cook. I'm the principal here at Westhampton Beach Learning Center.
Tiffany Robinson, paraeducator.
I am Kelly Ferragamo. I'm a senior office assistant.
Name's Bill Steffens. I'm the head custodian here.
I'm Kara McCarthy. I'm behavior analyst and support teacher.
Kathy Wilton, classroom teacher.
And Julie Letts, Chief Operating Officer. So I did share some questions ahead of time, so you guys had a chance to really think about them. So we're just going to go through them, and we'll just have a natural conversation. So if we go off the questions, that's fine. But it's always important to start with a positive. So, and you don't necessarily have to answer every question. Everybody doesn't have to if you don't want to. But the first question is, what has been your best success so far this summer? And you all have different positions, so it's going to look different. But what has been your best success?
I think, the fact that we've been in school for 4 weeks is just a very global success, that things are running pretty smoothly. In terms of specific things, 2 things jump in my mind in terms of, as a psychologist, I've been working with kids, helping them to get used to being back in school. And for one youngster or a couple of youngsters, they're brand new to our school. So it's helping them to adjust, feel comfortable, working on social skills, talking about social distancing within that realm. The other thing that's been really rewarding is my opportunity to reach out and talk with parents about what their experience has been like for their sons and daughters as they come back to school. And really without exception, people are talking about the positives that they see in their children, that they're seeing them come out to the bus, for the most part, happy to go to school, seeing changes in terms of their sleeping, communicating more around the house. Mm-hmm. And I think we see it in school too, that the kids like being around their classmates and their friends and being with their teachers and having a chance to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm. Good. So much we took for granted, right?
And I know that a lot of people had reservations about coming back, like including myself, was it safe? But it's nice to be back and see that we are safe, and as a paraeducator in the classroom, I can support and help with keeping everything safe. Whether it's like helping the staff and the classroom teacher, prep materials that stay with that student to eliminate foot traffic around the classroom. We have, if I have to help with getting reinforcers or any materials they might need during the day, pencils, glue sticks, crayons, scissors, we make little bins, we keep everything next to their desk, and I can help and support the staff members with whatever they need. So it's just me, you know, walking around as opposed to, we know we work with a population of kids that sometimes they can't sit still and it's hard for them. But it's nice to be able to help with that, you know, if a staff member is sitting with their student, I can then help, you know, like I said, eliminate that foot traffic around the classroom and help keep everybody safe and feel safe, you know, and helping, you know, wiping things down or, you know, assisting wherever I can in the classroom.
You know, one of these successes I feel, is the nice thing about starting in the summer, we started with a smaller population. So it was intimidating, but not as intimidating. So as the classroom teacher, it being, you know, my responsibility for the staff and the students, having that, we got the procedures, okay, this is what we have to do, and then we were able to implement them. And within the first week, it was like not old habit, it was like comfortable again. Yeah, like we were able to, we implemented like washing our hands. And the kids just, okay, so we're gonna wash our hands quite often now, you know, or staying in our seats and our seats being separated more. And the kids are okay with that. Having the bins and having the support from the staff, setting up the bins with everybody has their own stuff and cleaning up. I mean, we were able to implement the new norm pretty effortlessly, and the kids are adapting to it. And so is the staff. I mean, it was intimidating coming back,
Yeah,
but
a lot of unknowns.
yeah.
For me, I've been able to implement in several classes a behavioral shaping program for mask wearing. And that came from Caitlin King, approached me beginning of the second week of summer school and said, you know, we have some students wearing masks, but a lot are having difficulty with it. You know, do you think maybe a different social story would be effective? And I thought about it and I said, you know, I said the students who are going to be affected by that social story probably already had been. So our students who were still struggling needed a different approach. So we put in, I wrote out a behavioral shaping, 6 steps to build their tolerance to wearing the masks, and chose 2 classrooms to start with. It's been expanded to 5 classrooms, and I'm looking forward to expanding it to even more. And we're seeing, you know, great success. And now some of the students who we initially started with, and who at first, when you brought a mask near them, were very not receptive, pushing it away and getting upset, are not only wearing it during our structured shaping sessions where they have access to a preferred reinforcer while they wear their mask at whatever level they're at. They're also now, some of them are wearing it for other activities. So we're starting to see it expand. It's a slow process, but it's such a fun process, and we have really good data that is you know, seeing those increases. And different students are increasing at different levels. So it's been
Yeah.
great to
I was one of the
do.
first classrooms that she had come into, and it was, you know, amazing to watch it progress well. And I've had some parents who didn't try wearing masks at home because it was a difficulty, and they were like, well, you know, when I approached them, we're going to try this. Is it okay? And they were definitely yes, because it is our new norm to go to a store, to go to the doctor's office. It's, you know, required at times, and it's really fun to watch and see the progression.
Other
Well, I'll just say that in the nurse's office, we always have an open door policy. We always used to keep our door open. But with the social distancing and all kids coming for medications and all, we had to make sure everybody was staying 6 feet apart. So to accomplish that, what we did was we did shut the door, which at first was an adjustment because we like everybody just to know we're there. Just walk by, say, hi nurses, so the kids are comfortable. But in this time right now, we can't do that. So we keep the door locked. If somebody needs to come, they call before they come. We have the teachers calling us. The kids who come down for meds, if they have an injury on the playground, so we can just space the kids in between, so I don't have more than one student in the office at once. And it's working out fine.
I would say that I think our greatest success is just everyone coming together and really working as a team. I mean, from anything from just the you know, arrival and dismissal procedures, we've really had constant communication in order to troubleshoot any issue that has come up across the board, and really just been a really hardworking collaborative team, and I commend everyone on going above and beyond. I'm very appreciative of everyone's hard work, and it's really, I think, paid off, and we've seen the success as the summer has gone on, and I really just look forward to that collaborative model to get the school hopefully up and running for September as well.
I think a really cool success in speech therapy has been being able to take all of the hygiene needs of being in a pandemic and making it into functional communication. So we've been programming devices with words that have to do with hand washing and social distancing, and it's great because not only are we exposing them to more vocabulary, but it's functional and it's something that's part of their day. So that's been really great.
Nice. Anybody else before we go?
And just keeping up with the sanitizing, we're doing it hourly. We, wipe down all the high-touch surfaces, all the bathrooms are cleaned hourly, and I think we're doing a pretty good job keeping up with it. So I'd say,
I hear you're custodian extraordinaire.
He sure is.
thank you very much, I appreciate it.
I would say that the best success would just be, like Jenny said, where it was short notice that we were now going from virtual to in person, and it was just, nobody missed a beat. It was just every department, no matter what the position was, we're ready, got everything ready for the students to arrive, and it was pretty seamless. I think, to make sure that the students had what they needed while keeping them safe, which was a new challenge for us to achieve.
Nice. You guys are amazing. Love this organization. So, what one question do you think or do you know is on everybody's mind for September?
How are they going to pull this off? I think that's the question everybody's wondering, Are they going to be safe?
Yeah.
How are they going to do that? How are we going to be in the classroom and everybody's going to be 6 feet apart? How are we going to? But we've been able to pull it off, and we have a good leader. So, when we start to fall short, Jenny will tell us, guys, remember, 6 feet apart. Remember, wear your mask correctly. Remember, and it's been working.
Mm.
I think everyone is just wondering how
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
I think to add to that also, I've had a lot of people say to me, well, you did summer on such a smaller scale. What is this going to look like when you're back full scale with a larger number? So that's definitely something that is on, I think, a lot of people's minds, a lot of people that haven't been working summer and are going to come back to September for the first time and not know what the new norm necessarily looks like. I think it's just a little bit of the fear of the unknown for them, like it was for us going into the summer.
We have an ultimately clean and healthy and safe school, and I'm very confident. I feel very safe being in the building, and really thank Billy and the crew for doing the work that allows us to focus exquisitely on the work that we do with the kids, while still doing our own cleaning procedures and things like that. But I think that doing it larger scale, we can do this. There's strategies that the administration has thought about how to deal with flow of traffic and things like that.
And I feel like we have to give the kids credit too, because they really rose to the occasion.
Absolutely.
We were so worried, they don't do this, but this one doesn't sit and this one doesn't, if they have the support, they've been able to stay in the classroom. We don't go out, we don't do group activities like we usually would do every summer and have beach day and kite day and all that stuff. And they have risen to the occasion. They can do it if they have the support and the proper things put in place. You just have to kind of be, more creative with the day, and they're able to do it. So I think the worry of, how are the kids going to handle it? I think they're handling it better than we're handling it. I think, they really have done well this summer.
The kids didn't miss a beat.
They didn't.
They sat down, they started. The nice thing about the classroom, the way we're having our world now, is that you contain your classroom. So my 6 students, my staff, and myself were in there. And it's not, when I first thought about it, it was like, oh gosh, we're going to be in the classroom all day, and they're going to push in, and I'm never going to get, but it's okay. It's really okay. And it makes me feel in control of my environment. I watch Billy and Dean running around cleaning everything, but we're also doing it in our classroom. My staff, we have the Pro wipes, and my staff is just, pulling them out, wiping it down. My room is not in this clean ever. So it's very nice. And having the push in is actually kind of nice because I don't really have to worry about my kids coming in contact with other, and we're in the playgrounds, we're able to do that. We come off the playground, it's very nice. It's seamless right now. And having that control in my classroom allows me to feel comfortable with everybody else coming back. There's not a lot of foot traffic. And, and when we're respectful, it's actually kind of nice when they do, if a class is coming out, another class will hesitate and let that other class go by. It's not, it's not
Like in the
as-
grocery store, right?
Yes, yeah, so it's okay.
What other questions do you think people have?
Follow through. This will continue. We will be provided with the things that we need to continue. You know what I mean? Like, I know we're starting out with wipes and masks and gloves. Will that always continue? I think that's a thought too.
Other questions?
I've heard from, and it no longer impacts me in my life, but from working parents, some questions about like if their child's school is different, or if their child needs to be home because they may not be sick but had a symptom, and how they will balance their work and home.
Yeah.
So I will say the easy answer to if a sending district schedule is different, districts are obligated to provide the special education services or on an IEP. And every district is providing 100% in person for their students with disabilities. So that is not going to be an issue. They will come unless a parent has a reason why, for safety reasons, they want their child at home. As far as, there's lots of requirements in our reopen plan had to do with the need to communicate very clearly exactly things like that. What do I do if my child is sick? What do I do if I have a positive, COVID test in my family? So we are in the process of putting that together, and we'll be pushing it out in really varying ways to both our staff and our families. So that will be our focus in August. Other questions you think around people's?
I know a few questions that I've gotten from people relate directly to social distancing with this population, and what does that look like, and how are we going to social distance? And I think that the question is specific. A lot of times it's specific to individual aides and how are they working with students and what does that look like. So I've just been kind of giving them the answer that what we've been doing for the summer, and just increasing hand hygiene and encouraging mask wearing to ensure safety precautions. But that has definitely been, I would say, a reoccurring question that I've been getting.
Yeah, the guidance on social distancing is different for students with disabilities than it is for general education. And I liken it to, what happens with medical providers, right? Medical providers can't social distance with their patients, so they just make sure that, that they're using hand hygiene and they're wearing masks. And I think that's a little easier for people to visualize because people have been to a doctor and you know what happens, right? The doctor comes in, washes his or her hands, and maybe not necessarily wearing masks, but in this world, wearing masks and then washing hands again before they go from that place to the next place. So, and we know that, right? You've seen it working. We can't do what we need to do for these kids without on occasion, being hands-on. So, what can I do to help you in this time? What can I do? Right? You have the opportunity to tell me anything you want to tell me about how I can be helpful.
Communicate. Keep us in the loop. I mean, your robocalls have been great, but just keep it coming. Like, let us know what's going on, and keep us, in tune to what's changing, and what to expect and stuff. I think that would be great.
And being reassuring, you're very
Yes.
reassuring on those calls. And even, as the employee, I can imagine the parents getting some of the messages that, you have a handle on this, you're doing what you can to make sure everybody stays safe. And it's good, you see the calls coming up, you're like, okay, it's Julian's calling, you listen to it, and they're very informative, so I think that's just wonderful on your part that you do that for all of us and the parents,
I think similar to what you had said about a document being pushed out, maybe just a document two separate documents, just something what to expect. This is what our new school looks like. You know, these are the changes that have occurred. You know, we need your patience with this, the drop-off method has changed. We need a little more patience from you because it might take a little bit longer. You know, just push some information out there to let them know what exactly has changed, what for your child's day will be different. You know, just for staff as well, what will change for you so that they don't maybe have so many questions and so much fear with coming in.
All right. Other things?
I think something that was very helpful with this whole thing is the disinfecting wipes that were provided to the staff that didn't have to come from a custodial budget, that we were just kind of provided, and it took a lot of stress off my shoulders as far as trying to figure out how to provide disinfectant for every room or, you know, PPE for every room. That was very helpful. So if that was something that can continue through the school year, I think that would be very helpful overall.
Other,
Just keeping up with the communication and the ample supply of materials that we need to keep things clean, and the different subscriptions to services that related service and special education teachers are using to bridge the learning for our students.
okay, do people feel like that has happened so far? Is this a concern about, like, come September, is this all gonna fall away and we just wanna make sure we have the support that we,
I know some of the subscriptions, recently some of the teachers who are remote, I think some of them have maybe ended the subscription, so have contacted though assistant principals to get those, make sure that they're up and, you know, ready to go for September. So I guess just making sure that they don't lapse is what they're looking into, because I guess some of them had end dates.
Yeah, because we got a lot free, you know,
Right.
the pandemic, the whole, and then we all learned, like all these, these are great.
Right.
These are awesome. And then June 30th, they, you know, we're still here. So, I mean, but the wonderful thing about the pandemic is that we learned how to be virtual,
yes.
you know, and collaborating with each other, like with speech, just collaborating with all the new technology that is all at our fingertips. You know, it's just, I think it's great. That's the good part. You know, and having that continue, because we can utilize it in the classroom, you know, on our smart boards, on our iPads. And it's nice because it contains, like, it saves trees. But also, like, this is his iPad, and I label the iPad. So this is, you know, Johnny's iPad all day long. At the end of the day, we wipe it down and put it away. It's not, you know, nobody's running to the photocopy machine to get more copies. It's all right there. Speech, we are able to collaborate together and, you know, do things together on the iPads. It's just, you know, something that I think would be a great continuing. And if we ever close down again,
Yes.
we got it.
Yeah,
We're ready.
good. Any other people? How can it be helpful? You guys are easy.
I think the biggest thing is just the communication.
Yeah.
People just feel safer when they're reassured.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the fear of the unknown, I think, that just gets everybody. So just an open communication, and of course all the PPE supplies. Like those Purell wipes have been like a godsend. The masks even. The masks are great and they fit very nicely. They do, and they wash great. So I think that's just like the main thing, I think. It make people feel better.
Good.
I have found from an administrative standpoint that the surveys have been helpful to look at when you send that information out to the building level to look at that and to see information in terms of the feedback from staff, what's working well, what's not working well, and to take that feedback and adjust accordingly at a building level. So if that could continue into the fall, that would be super helpful.
Okay, good. That's a good idea. So, if you could change or adjust something about in-person education or your role in in-person education, what would it be?
Well, I think Kathy said that, if anything, this has shown us the importance of collaboration, and just because we're not pulling students out, I think that sometimes as related service providers, we just get used to coming into a classroom and pulling out. And I think that's shown us that maybe there was a little disconnect between the curriculum in the classroom and the goals that we work on with the students. So I think this is kind of a positive to go back to that.
I have a speech teacher who is now pushing in because of behavioral issue, and like she'll do something with the student, like during individual time she comes in, so it works out great because she can do her lesson quietly, and she'll like ask a question, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good question, never thought of that, you know, like, oh, and then you put it in the back of your head, or she does something else, and I'm like, it does open your mind to other ideas, and they speech thinks differently than a classroom teacher sometimes, and it's really nice to have that. And I know some teachers, you know, sometimes it's kind of nice to have one less child in your room for, you know, a half hour. But it's also kind of nice having that adult in there too and learning from them. And I think that's just something we need to get used to as a team, that we are a team. We're keeping the child safe in the classroom, and, you know, we can learn from each other through this. And we could also, you know, you could plan, I could plan, maybe have a little less. But it's good. It's nice. So if you can get that collaboration going more, it would be great.
Other things, what would you change?
I have found, from a behavioral perspective, that how we reinforce has had to change a little bit. So, like rethinking, and then and maybe even as teens, brainstorming how we can have students have access to things that are going to reinforce it. And maybe some of those things will be different than they were in the past, or delivered in a different way. But just to have that discussion to make sure we are, you know, adequately reinforcing our students. We're asking them to do new things, and we're asking them to continue with old things. And reinforcement of that appropriate behaviors, from my perspective, always key to building that. So just keeping that in mind, because we have limited some things, so to be able to maybe to think of other things that we can replace them with for those students to keep them motivated.
Other things that you would change? If I gave you a magic wand?
I think from an administrative standpoint, you know, getting summer up and running was, we did it in a short period of time, so we tried to be as prepared as possible. And I think moving into September, we know a lot more now. We're more equipped with information, so just having classrooms set up with everything down to individual supply boxes ready to go on the first day, and really kind of thinking through the time that the student gets off the bus until the time that the student leaves, and getting the instructional team ready with all of the necessary supplies so that it doesn't fall on their shoulders to get that ready during the day, and just being ahead of that. And I think we know more of what getting ahead of that looks like now versus what we did in the beginning of the summer.
I agree, though. That is, yeah, that would be very helpful.
Okay, so last question. What would you like families to know about how you have shifted, whether it be your educational approach, if your instructional, or your work structure, if you support in some other way? What do you want parents to know?
Well, as the school nurse in the building, what we do now is, it would be nice for the parents to know that we're keeping their children safe as always. But regarding the COVID, we have 2 rooms now for the nurse's office. We have my regular nurse's office, which treats for the medications of, you know, playground injuries or cuts or scrapes. But we have an exam room now that we use. If there's any signs of COVID at all, the child goes immediately to that room. So this way my room stays clear from any symptoms of COVID, so it's special from the exam room. So this way they know if their child is not the one with the COVID symptoms and they were in the office earlier getting meds, say, they know that that child was already in another office isolated from the regular office.
Kind of like a well and sick.
Well and sick room, yeah.
Office.
Even if they come off the bus that way, they go right into that room. They don't go amongst the building, they go right into that room right away with the nurse. So, which I think is quite helpful.
Yes. Other?
The changes that I've made have been really basic on one level. and it kind of makes me think of what Kathy was saying. There are certain things we can do that we can control that will really help. I wear my face mask all the time. I wash my hands probably 50 or 100 times a day. If we had a fundraiser where we got paid and it went back to the school, we'd be doing great if everybody's hand washing counted that way. We're cleaning all the time, and that lets us make sure that things are as safe as possible for everybody. And then we can get back into the brass tacks of why we're here, which is working more directly with the kids.
What about you, Erica?
I think that because now in the forefront of our mind is health and safety, I have to think about my lessons first and how that will impact health and safety first, and then think about what materials I can use after that. So I think that even if it just means like getting a pointer with a finger and not coming in contact with the device, I have to think about what my lessons are and how well they work, but I have to think about health and safety first. And then how do I modify my lessons after that?
Anybody else?
I think parents just need to be reassured that, especially here, that the teachers are being so creative and flexible with how they're doing things while keeping their children safe. And the cleaning is constantly happening. Like sometimes we can't get out of our door. They're always cleaning the knobs and wiping down everything, the bathrooms, everything is, you do feel safe. And I know there are a lot of concerns with health, maybe, kids' immune systems and things of that nature. But the cleaning is happening, and the teachers and the staff are being very flexible and very creative with how they deal with the children. Even a child who maybe does have to maybe walk around for a little bit, there is not a lot of foot traffic going on, and visuals are always available, and we make it work. We really do make it work.
Nice, thank you for that. Anybody else?
I think I would just add to what Tiffany was saying. I think, and Erica too, health and safety has always been a priority, for the students here, but especially during this pandemic, that's always been, it's always now the forefront of every decision that we're making. And then it's figuring out how the health and safety is addressed, and then how to best meet the needs of the students, and what does that look like. So, I think we've been able to provide a really rigorous and engaging program this summer while still maintaining health and safety for everyone. It's just encouraging people to think outside of the box and being super creative and brainstorming and being really collaborative. I think that we've had really valuable conversations with each other in terms of what does this look like in your classroom, what does this look like in my classroom, and how can we best meet the needs of the students moving forward. So I don't think that there are students sitting in the room all day that are bored. I think that we're still providing that highly engaging environment, which has been really neat to see come to fruition. And it's really amazing what people are able to create in terms of lessons and planning and materials. Even in the virtual model, when we went out on COVID, that was really interesting to see and exciting. And then just bringing some of that virtual technology back into the classroom, and what does that look like, and different devices and whatnot. So it's definitely health and safety first, but we're still able to provide that really creative and engaging educational program, which I think has been very neat to see develop.
Nice.
One of my first lessons is usually first aid jitters. It's a book, and we make. But now my first lesson is wearing a mask, Lucy's mask, and how fast those books went up on Amazon, with the mask wearing. So we started with that, and then we have the Creative Mask Day where we all made, silly masks. And the next week we did hand washing, and we've done hand washing, but it became and then the kids went right into it. And they actually are more now okay, we're back from gym, we gotta go wash our hands. But implementing that and then bringing my virtual world into my classroom again was kind of neat, because I had been working on something in my Google Classroom, and one of my students who is now back in person, she was like, I remember this, and you're here now, you can show me how to actually do this. It was great, instead of me, through the computer talking to her. So it was really cool to have that come back in, and she connected it like, you remember? I'm like, yes, I do remember, you know. So it's very nice to have that. And I'm actually having that experience virtually with parents. It was a more of an intimate.
Yes.
We became very, it's just something like, you know, that this class will be very different in my memory, you know, of my career.
Yeah, we got to know families in a whole new way.
Yes.
When you enter their homes, right? You enter their homes in a virtual way, and you get to know them in a whole new way. So, any last thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions?
I would like to say that, you know, going back to full capacity, that my department's been really supportive with, you know, giving us the extra hours that we need to keep things clean, to do building improvements. That when we do start in September, that additional staffing is going to be added to the campus so that we can keep up with the high demand of things. So if anybody has any, like, you know, hesitation to coming back, I think they should be confident in the fact that we kind of have things under control. You know, it's worked very well all summer long.
So I just want to thank everybody in the room again for your willingness to take some time and think about the questions that I posed to you. Thank you also for your open, honest remarks and your candid thoughts about what summer is like now. I hope that this conversation just provides a nice bird's eye view into what is happening here in summer and what our expectations are for the fall. So thank you all to the people in the room and for those of you who took the time to watch. Thank you.